If you are over 60 and trying to protect your blood sugar, there is one frozen dessert mistake I beg you to stop making. Do not assume the carton labeled light, keto, or sugar-free is automatically safe. Some of those products look gentle on the label, then hit the body like a Trojan horse. Others, surprisingly, can fit into a blood sugar conscious plan far better than people expect. And that matters, because after 60, the body does not handle sugar spikes the way it used to. The real question is not, can you ever eat ice cream again? The real question is, which one helps you stay in control, and which one quietly pushes you toward the roller coaster? Stay with me, because today I am ranking 5 ice creams that are less likely to wreck blood sugar, and 3 that can do it fast, especially if you eat them the wrong way. And please pay attention to the warning list, because one of those products is sitting in many American freezers right now. For those who do not know me, I am Dr. Celeste Morgan, and this is Dr. Celeste Morgan on Senior Care. I care for older adults who want to stay sharp, steady, and independent. Let me say this plainly. This is not magic. This is physiology. A 2024 clinical trial in Frontiers in Nutrition found that a no added sugar ice cream produced a better post-meal glucose profile than a conventional one in adults with type 2 diabetes, but it still raised glucose because milk sugar is still sugar. And an older diabetes care study found something even more surprising. A supposedly better frozen dessert made with high fructose syrup actually caused a higher glycemic response than regular ice cream. In plain language, labels can mislead you. Composition matters more than marketing. Now think with me for a moment. Why is this more important after 60? Because the aging body loses some of its natural brakes. Insulin sensitivity often declines. Muscle mass drops, sleep becomes lighter, the liver becomes less forgiving. And when those changes combine with a dessert that delivers fast carbohydrates, low fiber, and little protein, glucose can rise sharply, then fall hard. That is when people describe feeling shaky, foggy, hungry again, or strangely tired an hour later. It is not just about diabetes numbers. It is about vascular stress, oxidative stress, and the kind of cumulative damage that happens without pain, without warning. Before we begin, type 1 in the comments if you love ice cream and 0 if you already gave it up out of fear. I read those comments and they help me know what you need next. Number 5 on my safer list is Halo Top Vanilla Bean. Not because it is perfect, it is not, but because one serving gives you 90 calories, 22 grams of total carbohydrate, 6 grams of fiber, and 5 grams of protein, with 8 grams of total sugar in a 2/3 cup serving. That protein and fiber combination acts like a partial brake on the system, slowing the glucose rise compared with many traditional pints. I think of a composite patient I will call Linda, 66, who told me, "Doctor, I do fine all day, and then dessert ruins the evening." Her real problem was not dessert alone. It was eating a full pint on an empty stomach. I asked her to portion Halo Top into a bowl after dinner, never straight from the carton, and pair it with a few walnuts. 2 weeks later, she said, "I still feel treated, but not punished." That was not marketing. That was portion control plus better structure. Number 4 is Yasso Chocolate Fudge Bars. Here is where portion design makes the difference. A bar gives you about 80 calories and 5 grams of protein. Is it low in sugar? Not exactly. But it is pre-portioned, and that matters enormously for people who lose track with open cartons. A wrapped bar creates a natural stop sign. One of my older patients, a composite woman named Elena, 71, used to tell herself she would eat 3 spoonfuls of regular ice cream and somehow end up finishing half the tub. With a bar, the decision was already made. If you choose this option, eat it after a meal that contains protein, not as a lonely afternoon snack on an empty stomach. That single change often softens the blood sugar swing. Number 3 is Breyer's Carb Smart Vanilla. This one is useful for people who truly watch carbohydrates closely. Per serving, it lists 100 calories, 4 grams of net carbs, 4 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of fiber. Here is the nuance that changes everything. Lower carb does not automatically mean healthier. It simply means less glucose pressure in that moment. Some people tolerate sugar alcohols and sweeteners well. Others get bloating or a strong urge to eat more because the sweetness keeps the appetite switch turned on. So if you choose it, use it strategically. 2/3 of a cup after a balanced meal and not every night. Use it as a tool, not a license. Number 2 is Rebel Natural Vanilla. Rebel positions itself as no added sugar, grain-free, and very low net carb. For some people with diabetes, that can mean a smaller glucose bump than standard premium ice cream. But I rank it high only with a warning label of my own. It is very high in fat, and high fat can make people think they are protected when they are simply delayed. Sometimes the glucose rise comes later. Sometimes the calories quietly accumulate. This is why I tell my patients to test, not guess. If you wear a continuous glucose monitor, this is the kind of product worth checking over 2 or even 3 hours, not just 1. And my number 1 better choice is the one many people overlook, a small measured serving of plain vanilla or lightly sweetened ice cream eaten after a real dinner, ideally with extra protein on the plate, rather than a giant bowl of any so-called healthy ice cream eaten alone. Yes, you heard me correctly. The Cooper Institute has pointed out that full-fat ice cream can have a relatively low glycemic index, but that can be misleading because it may still be loaded with sugar, saturated fat, and calories. That is why the real protection is context. Food is not just what you eat. It is what you eat it with, when you eat it, and how much of it lands in the body at once. In many adults over 60, half a cup after a protein-rich meal causes less chaos than a large serving of a trendy product eaten by itself. And here is the key that almost nobody explains. The American Diabetes Association says people with diabetes can have dessert, but portion size and total carbohydrates matter more than the word sugar-free on the front of the box. This was not your fault. This was a marketing victory, not a medical recommendation. Now let us turn to the 3 that can wreck blood sugar fast. Number 3 on the warning list is Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia. One serving can bring about 340 calories, 38 grams of carbohydrate, and 13 grams of saturated fat. And who eats only one serving? This is the silent trap. Cherries make it sound almost wholesome, but the combination of liquid sugar, added sugar, and a very generous serving size turns it into a blood sugar roller coaster for many older adults. If this is your favorite, I am not telling you never. I am telling you respect it. Share it, portion it, and do not eat it straight from the pint. Number 2 is Talenti Salted Caramel Truffle Gelato Layers. This one is elegant, and that is exactly why it fools people. One serving lands around 320 calories, roughly 42 grams of carbohydrate, and about 10 or 11 grams of saturated fat depending on the listing you read. Layered desserts are designed to keep rewarding the brain. Creamy, crunchy, sweet, salty. That sensory stack makes stopping harder. I remember a composite patient named Marcia, 69, who said, "I am not craving sugar. I just want something sophisticated." But the pancreas does not care whether sugar arrives in a paper cup or a gold spoon. And number 1, the fastest blood sugar saboteur on today's list is the kind of premium chocolate-coated bar that combines ice cream, candy coating, and very little restraint, like a Haagen-Dazs vanilla milk chocolate almond bar. Depending on the retailer listing, a single bar can bring roughly 270 to 290 calories, about 18 to 20 grams of sugar, and 12 grams of saturated fat. Why does this matter? Because bars go down quickly. There is no bowl, no spoon, no pause. For many people, fast eating means less awareness, less satisfaction, and a greater chance of reaching for another. So what should you do tonight? First, never judge an ice cream by the words low-fat, sugar-free, keto, or premium. Turn the package over. Look at total carbohydrate, serving size, protein, fiber, and saturated fat. Second, if you are over 60, never eat ice cream on an empty stomach unless you have tested that response in your own body. Third, keep your portion honest, half a cup to 2/3 of a cup or one pre-portioned bar. Fourth, whenever possible, eat it after a meal with protein, not as a standalone snack. And fifth, if you live with diabetes or prediabetes, use your own data. A glucose meter or continuous monitor is a map. Without it, you are navigating blind. And one more practical rule from my clinic. If you want ice cream, buy a smaller container than your willpower thinks you need. Environment matters. The hand reaches before the brain decides. When the portion is smaller, the decision is gentler. When the tub is large, the evening becomes a negotiation, and glucose usually loses that negotiation, especially after long, tiring, emotional days. You have now seen 5 options that are less likely to derail you, and 3 that deserve real caution. That does not mean fear. It means clarity. You are not too old to enjoy dessert again. Your body is listening. Your blood sugar is listening. And when you stop chasing labels and start understanding physiology, the brain feels calmer, the body feels steadier, and health stops feeling like punishment. If this helped you, subscribe to Dr. Celeste Morgan, Senior Care, and share this with someone who thinks all ice cream is either forbidden or harmless. This video is for education only, not personal medical advice, and you should speak with your own doctor before changing diet or medication. Take care of yourself. See you in the next one.